America, a place where gas stations sit more than 100 miles apart, abandoned mining towns crumble into dust, and the silence feels heavy enough to hear. Truckers tell stories about strange lights drifting across the mountains. State troopers occasionally find abandoned vehicles with their engines still running. The drivers are never found. Most people dismiss those stories as desert myths. Jake Morrison used to be one of them. 34 years old and working as a medical equipment salesman, Jake spent more time on highways than at home. Long drives, lonely motels, stale coffee, and endless stretches of asphalt were simply part of the job. He trusted maps. He trusted schedules. Most of all, he trusted technology. That trust disappeared somewhere between Ely and Fallon. Jake had finished a meeting later than expected. By the time he packed his samples into the trunk of his gray SUV, the sun was already sinking behind Nevada's jagged mountains. His phone estimated nearly 6 hours to Reno. Too long. He sighed. Then the GPS chimed. Faster route found. Save 2 hours. He frowned. The highlighted road wasn't familiar. It branched away from Highway 50 onto a thin gray line with no name. Still. 2 hours. He tapped accept. The navigation calmly instructed him to take the next exit. The pavement immediately changed. Fresh asphalt became cracked concrete. Lane markings faded until they disappeared altogether. Telephone poles leaned at impossible angles. No traffic. No lights. Only endless desert. After nearly 40 minutes, Jake realized something strange. He hadn't seen another vehicle. Not one. His radio dissolved into static. His phone displayed no signal. Then, standing beside the road as though she had been waiting for him, was an elderly woman. She wore an old gray coat despite the desert heat. Her silver hair hung neatly beneath a faded hat. Beside her rested a weathered brown leather suitcase. She didn't wave. She simply watched his SUV approach. Jake slowed. Every instinct told him not to stop. But she looked exhausted. Fragile. Completely alone. He pulled onto the shoulder. "You okay, ma'am?" She opened the passenger door before he could unlock it. The lock clicked by itself. She climbed in silently. The suitcase looked impossibly heavy, yet she lifted it effortlessly. "Thank you," she said softly. Her voice sounded old. Older than her face. Jake smiled politely. "Where are you headed?" She stared forward. "Keep driving." He waited. No town. No address. Nothing. Eventually he shrugged and continued. An hour passed without another word. Darkness swallowed the desert. Jake searched for a gas station. According to the GPS, one appeared just ahead. It emerged from the darkness exactly where promised. Old pumps. Broken windows. A flickering open sign. No lights inside. No cars. The station looked abandoned for decades. Jake slowed. "I need fuel." The woman spoke instantly. "Don't stop." Jake looked at the gauge. Half a tank. Enough. He drove on. 20 minutes later another station appeared. Exactly the same. Same cracked pumps. Same broken windows. Same flickering sign. Even the rust patterns were identical. Jake stared through the windshield. "That's impossible." The woman remained silent. Soon another road sign emerged. Highway 50 to 72 miles. Jake frowned. He had passed that sign almost an hour ago. The next sign said the same thing. Same scratches. Same bullet holes. Same bent corner. His stomach tightened. He reached for his phone. Still no service. The GPS screen suddenly froze. Its map disappeared. Only one sentence remained. Continue straight. Nothing else. No estimated arrival. No destination. Just continue straight. Jake adjusted the rearview mirror. The old woman sat perfectly still. He glanced toward the passenger side mirror. His breath caught. He could see himself. The empty back seat. The luggage. But not her. The seat beside him was empty. He turned his head. She was still there. He looked back into the mirror. Nothing. His hands tightened around the steering wheel. "Who are you?" She didn't answer. Instead, she whispered, "Don't stop." Jake swallowed. For what? Her pale eyes slowly shifted toward the rear window. "They're behind us." He looked. Nothing. Then, far across the desert, a single pair of headlights appeared. Tiny. Distant. He laughed nervously. Just another car. The woman closed her eyes. No. The headlights grew larger. Too quickly. Within seconds another pair appeared. Then another. Then another. Soon dozens of headlights stretched across the darkness. None of the vehicles used high beams. None drifted between lanes. They moved in perfect formation. Silent. Completely silent. Jake rolled down his window. No engines. No tires. Nothing. Just headlights racing toward him. Impossible speed. His speedometer climbed past 80. Then 90. The convoy matched every mile per hour. Closer. Closer. Still no sound. One vehicle pulled beside him. It was an old station wagon covered in dust. Its windows were black. Another pulled alongside. A pickup truck from the 1970s. Then a burned sedan. A rusted RV. Cars from every decade. All moving together. All silent. The driver's window of the station wagon slowly lowered. Jake looked. The driver had no face. Only darkness. The truck beside him held a family. None had eyes. The children smiled without mouths. Jake screamed and slammed the accelerator. The SUV shook violently. The needle passed 100 miles per hour. Still. The convoy remained beside him. Perfectly matching his speed. Finally the old woman spoke. They were travelers once. Jake couldn't take his eyes off the road. What are you talking about? They accepted the shortcut. The road doesn't shorten the journey. It removes the destination. Jake stared ahead. What does that mean? It chooses people who are alone. People no one expects tonight. People who believe roads always lead somewhere. Jake felt ice spread through his chest. How do I leave? You don't. Her answer came without emotion. You were chosen the moment you turned. The SUV suddenly lurched. Fuel light. Empty. Impossible. Half a tank only an hour ago. The engine sputtered. Jake panicked. No. No. The woman finally looked directly at him. Her expression carried centuries of sadness. I was like you. My husband stopped for me. He thought he was saving a stranger. What happened? I never left. Jake's heartbeat thundered. You've been here. She nodded. Since 1958. The engine died. The SUV rolled silently to a stop. Around them. Every vehicle stopped too. Dozens. Hundreds. A perfect circle of headlights. No sound. No movement. Every driver's door opened at once. Figures stepped onto the road. Men. Women. Children. Travelers dressed from every generation. All walking slowly toward Jake. Their footsteps made no sound. The old woman picked up her suitcase. "It's time." Jake grabbed her arm. "Help me." Tears filled her eyes. "I already tried once." She opened the passenger door. The desert wind rushed inside. Cold. Far colder than any desert night should ever be. She stepped into the darkness. The crowd parted to let her pass. Jake locked every door. He held the steering wheel with trembling hands. The first figure reached his window. Then another. Then 20 more. Hundreds of pale hands rested gently against the glass. Not pounding. Not scratching. Waiting. The windshield slowly frosted over from the outside. One handprint appeared. Then dozens. Then hundreds. The glass cracked. Jake screamed. 3 weeks later, a Nevada Highway Patrol officer spotted a gray SUV resting beside Highway 50. The vehicle showed no signs of collision. Its engine was still warm. The keys remained in the ignition. Jake's wallet sat on the driver's seat. His phone rested in the cup holder. Every personal belonging remained untouched. There were no signs of struggle. Only one strange detail puzzled investigators. Fresh footprints led away from the vehicle into the empty desert. There was only one set. They belonged to an elderly woman wearing small boots. Jake's footprints ended at the driver's door. As though he had simply vanished. The case remains unsolved. Some truck drivers still report seeing an old woman standing beside an empty stretch of Highway 50 after midnight. She carries a weathered leather suitcase. She never asks for a ride. She simply waits. And somewhere beyond the darkness, silent headlights are already following the next driver who decides to take the shortcut.